Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. We have seen in our last class the verse 21st. The manifest being is said to be imperishable. The scriptures declare that being to be the supreme goal of the human incarnation. That is the supreme abode. That is my supreme abode, attaining which there is no return to samsara. So let's interpret it, there is no return to samsara, meaning to say, so who knows, if Shwara decides to bring you back to duality, you may come not to suffer the problems of this psychological suffering, well, which is inherent to samsaris. You come as a yani and just to give a help to humanity. But anyhow, return or not return, as I often say, we leave it to Ishwara, we leave it to the intelligent system. This is our ultimate goal, it says Swamiji now, and is that which is eternal, imperishable, beyond time and space, and having claimed clearly, firmly, convincingly your identity as the non-dual conscious existence. And then chances are that there is no sense of individuality, that could bring one to another configuration. Now, soul's configuration as an individual. Now, soul's consideration as an individual. The individual goal is to dissolve in Brahman as Brahman. But if there is any sense of ahamkara, mamakara, we may come back yet to finish up the work of dissolving this sense. I, the wave, am an individual entity. So the wave must understand that I, the wave, I am limitless water, beginningless water, my true nature, which, by the way, is the nature of the ocean as well. So Arjuna, he was promised that accomplished that he would go beyond time and space and there will be no return, as we have seen. Then how do you reach that Brahman? You reach that by understand that you have never been apart from Brahman. No? You don't need to travel to go back. Yoga is going back, is connecting, contacting, going back to unification with God and so on. So Vedanta says that it is some in our tradition said, I heard from Ramji, that Vedanta is the yoga of no contact, the yoga of not returning to or reaching to, or becoming something. It's just a yoga by which you understand that there is only consciousness and you are that consciousness. There is no question of traveling, of becoming, of reaching, of unifying with Brahman. Brahman is the consciousness principle that shines in the human interest as aham. So trace the aham back to consciousness, and you will understand your true nature. And then there is this passage here in which Swami says, through knowledge, even through knowledge, for those, that believe that academic knowledge will do the job, he says, through knowledge, you do not reach Brahman. Knowledge will at most help you to shift your sense of identity from the body-mind to Satchitananda Brahman. But this shift is the key. The shift, according to Swamiji, is related to through assimilation and internalization of these declarations of identity that shifts one's sense of identity from the ego to limitless consciousness. So knowledge is there as indirect knowledge. That alone is not going to produce Atmayana. At the most, it may convince one that I agree with the scriptures, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. But that knowledge needs to be assimilated thoroughly, meaning to say you have the entire logic supporting, holding, supporting these final declarations of the Vedas, the Upanishads, Upanishadic declarations of identity. I need to have all that knowledge so that this knowledge is doubtless a knowledge of firm conviction. You understand? Because I looked through the entire logic. Now my knowledge is good. It's a true knowledge, okay? And this is still an indirect knowledge, let's say, but then this through indirect knowledge, it shifts into direct knowledge at any time, okay? So it's more or less that the process, the way I like to present it, you drop the notion that I am the body, mind, sense complex. And then when you see not only the notion was dropped, but your sense of identification with the body, mind, sense complex shifts to identification with consciousness existence. And that alone means that consciousness is one supreme nature, the abode of Brahman. Abode here means the nature of Brahman. Beyond time, space, as we know, was presented before as Para Prakriti, Sakshi Chaitanya, consciousness, impersonal consciousness. Okay, and that brings us to the verse 22nd. O Arjuna, indeed, that Supreme Lord can be attained by undivided devotion. All beings are in him, and all this is pervaded by him. So here, again, we see Krishna highlighting strongly again and again, repeatedly, the importance of this human emotion that was purified in the light of recognition of God and understanding of the nature of Saguna and Nirguna God. That human emotion, which usually is conditioned by our success and failures and gaining what we want, that emotion is going to be purified and refined by the profound understanding of Karma Yoga, of Dharma, to the extent that one is going to have a different emotion, which is emotion of devotion. This means purification on the emotional level. Human emotions are converted into devotion, gratitude, reverence, love towards God. And it says, by undivided devotion, all beings are going to indeed reach the Supreme Lord. And all beings, they don't reach in a way or attain it in a way that we usually foresee. It's just all beings are already in him, in Brahman, because Brahman is all pervasive, all pervading. Brahman is the pervaded by all beings are pervaded by Brahman, meaning to say conscious existence, that on which the gunas of Maya project the cosmos from the power of Maya. So the nature of Brahman is beyond time and space. This Vyakata is often presented as consciousness principle called Purusha. Is the supreme Purusha, supreme Brahman, the highest reality, the absolute truth. Swami says that recently he has presented two meanings of this word Purusha. Purusha. You have to observe the context to understand what it is meaning to say. This absolute Brahman, in which Brahman alone rests, Yashta Antara, in which Brahman alone rests, all beings, the idea is Brahman does not exist within the creation. The creation exists as a superimposition Brahman. So, Bhutani, yeah, you should not go. Okay, I lost it, too much Sanskrit. So let's see if it becomes a little bit more clear in the next paragraph. That's why all prayers, the beauty is they will give both the lower form as well the higher form of what? Of devotion or what? Or results. Or I don't know. Let me see. You can choose according to your level. If you do not like space like God, all pervasive God, if you cannot conceive a God that is subtler than space, and then you can keep the Sagu.a God. That's what it means. But fundamentally, everything lives within these two aspects of Brahman, because everything is resolved in Saguna Ishwara, okay? But everything is resolved in the intelligent cause and material cause of this projection, which is the supreme intelligence and its laws and principles that need to be understood so that we can live in harmony with these apparent realities and develop a contemplative, purified mind to finish up our Nididhyasana. No? And by this consciousness, the whole creation is pervaded. Because if you talk about the existence of anything, consciousness must be present. How? Because to talk about existence of something, you require what? Consciousness. Because how can you talk about something without being conscious of that? Definitely. Therefore, existence presupposes consciousness or knowledge. So knowledge, consciousness, and existence, they are two names for the same nature of Brahman, is that which exists and is the pure consciousness that unfolds, apparently unfolds as Ishwara consciousness and human consciousness and all other jivas consciousness or minds, sentient beings. Knowledge presupposes consciousness, therefore, whatever you talk about, consciousness must be there. That's the concept. You can never negate conscious existence. Because if you say existence is not there, there is no existence at all. Who is doing that? Is a conscious existing being, the jiva, that say existence is not there. But you need to be conscious and you need to exist to establish that existence is not there. If existence is not there, how about you? Are you existing or not existing? And then there are some people who say, no, I don't exist. And you say, okay, that's good logic. Okay, Krishna himself feels that many people, that this is too high. It's very subtle for most people. If that is the case, so what we do, we know exactly what we do. We can just step back to the immediate lower step and begin developing our devotion towards Ishwara, but try something higher like Vishwarupa Ishwara, or the intelligence cause or the material cause which manifests as the material world, or the intelligent cause which manifests as all the laws and principles maintaining this cosmos. So there are symbols and symbols of Saguna Ishwara that we can begin, practicing as sadhana, upasana, or simply as a good karma yogi. But If we can, we stay with Nirguna Brahman. If it does not work, we step back and we try one of those most subtle symbols of Saguna Ishwara. If it's necessary, we go to Ekarupa. If it's necessary, we can go all the way down to Ekarupa, and then we're going to be doing our devotion and our upasana towards a deity or a symbol, which is not in a human form. Krishna says you can to Nirguna Brahma. Yeah, you go to Saguna, which Nirguna Brahman by you having been Niskama Bhakti. Once you understood, you grow to understand the ultimate goal is Nirguna Brahman. So I mean, we have read this one, or is he's repeating himself?
I think we covered it last time, but I'm enjoying the recap.
Well, and then where have we stopped? I don't know. Or I think he's repeating himself or not. Well,
no, Lynn's right. We did cover it last time, but I don't think we got all the way to verse 23. So somewhere in the text, I think we stopped.
We did not get all the way to the verse 23rd. Okay, let me go fast here since Aline is enjoying. Okay, so you grow as a Kami yogi. You develop a devotion towards Ishwara, represent or manifest as Niskama Pradhana Kami Yoga. So you are Niskama Pradhana Pradhama or Pradhana Kami Yogi, means to say you offer your actions and you receive the results offering to the Lord. And your actions, they are there to produce service to the Lord by serving the environment. They are the people. They're not my needs, my worldly desires. I have the desire now for spiritual growth, spiritual refinement, and to help other people as well, or impacting positively the environment with my actions. Now Krishna has completed the comparative study between the higher nature of God, and then this recap here. We're not going to say it all again. So Krishna made a comparative study, superior nature and lower nature. We know that sadhanas, they are going to sadhanas involving mental, verbal, and physical actions. They are never going to provide or produce a limitless result because they are finite actions. So anything we do with the body mind is finite. So how I go about recognize my infinite nature? So you need to understand these Upanishadic teachings. That's all. And this understanding has to be direct, paroksha yana. No? So, and before that, you need to observe Dharma and transcend the desire for Artha, Kama, and Dharma and move into moksha. Sometimes it's put you lag behind Artha, Kama, you enter into the realm of Dharma moksha. And Dharma is important because you continue pursuing Artha, Kama with total observance of Dharma and with the spirit of devotion and reverence and so on. So therefore, all goals can be divine, finite, and infinite. Okay. Then he talks here about an intelligent person should not try to hold on to any one of these superior celestial locus, which is Dharma being present as, spiritual punyan, meaning to say, having a good time in one of these heavens. Ishwara alone, seek Sasvata Ishwara alone, and therefore therefore may you choose God as your goal. And he has discussed this very elaborately from the 15th verse to the 22nd. We are not going to review this. God as formulas to God as a totality of all names and forms, and then God as Nirguna Atma, the conscious principle beyond space and time. That is the journey of devotion, which is the best way, if not the only way to go about. We'll see, I'm completing the chapter 12, in which Krishna presents devotion, divided in 5 levels, 5 stages, and he calls it Bhakti Yoga, but, Swami says it's not that it's a yoga and a specific path, but it's present as a yoga because without this devotion, devotion has to be there present in all our stages of spiritual development, okay? And it's not, I'm devoted to self-inquiry. No, you are devoted to inquire about the nature of God. And now you are doing the Nididhyasana, you are devoted to understanding the true nature of Nirguna Brahman as your very nature as well. So God must be included, all of that, if we wish to purify more rapidly, And you're not doing that because you're in a hurry. You are doing that because you understood that everything comes from Saguna Nirguna God. And we are in that, not in the meaning that we're going to have to pay some interest or no, but it seems here and there, scriptures say Vishwara only wants you to have a minimum of recognition, not for his sake, not for her sake, howsoever you want to see God, but for your very sake. If you don't recognize the Creator, you're going to develop vanity and arrogance, and you're going to be stuck. A lot of people think that God is a form of energy, very common. This is illogic. If God is energy, it means to say that God is material as well, because energy and matter is just a question of different frequencies. They are the same thing. From the invisible energy comes physical matter, and from the physical matter, everything goes back to the most subtle energy as in the causal formation of the Jivatma and the cosmos as an overall. So matter and energy, they are interconvertible, and they are part, and they are the nature of this Mithya reality. And God, if you say God is an energy, it means God is matter. If you say that God is the intelligence behind the pranas and all energies, and God is the intelligence behind the physical material universe, yet we are limiting God to subtle energy called Sattvaguna. Okay, and Sattvaguna, as we know, is a byproduct of Maya, Therefore, it's bound by time as well. But this supreme intelligence disappears into supreme ignorance. Okay, meaning to say total ignorance of everything. There is no knowledge except potential, latent potential for all knowledge is retained in the seed of the cosmos. And then during praraya. So that is the concept. From the unmanifest to the manifest, as we have seen. Verse 23, Arjuna, I shall speak about those paths departing by which paths the yogis attain the world of non-return and the world of return. I think we only read this and we stopped the class last time, right? Okay. So we have two destinations to go. One of these celestial lokas due to a lot of punya in my soul's account, So, and then that spiritual punya is going to take to one of these destinations. And that's why he says those paths, departing by which paths the yogis attain two different kinds of destinations. One is with a return once you exhaust your punya, and the other without any return, because you have shifted your sense of identity from the one that do actions to gain results. So you step out of the game. It's almost as if you step out of the game and then your actions have a different flavor to it, because you are not doing actions to attain anything, and you don't care to punya papa. Now, of course, everybody prefers punya, but the yani has the understanding that we have no control over punya and papa. And several of our papas now, adversities we experience, they relate to conditions in past lives, past births, actions in the past, long, even in this very same lifetime, before the yani is a yani, he's ignorant. He may have some tendencies, spiritual tendencies, with the potential for the unfoldment of wisdom, but it's ignorant. I was so ignorant up to, recently. I was born in a family, in a culture, in a society, and in a planet dominated by this ignorance. And it's understandable that even yanis have to go through punya papa. So the yani does not care for that. It's just a question of sense of identity. I just claim my true nature, which is beyond punya papa, beyond all pairs of complementary opposites. And that is said to be an accomplishment by understanding that somehow finish up with the individual soul, individual soul. And that is, as I often say, is a topic that not many people is attracted to. Very few people attract to, because they like to say, no, my soul is eternal and I'm going to exist in a superior dimension or in a superior loka, and there I'm going to enjoy spiritual pleasures and so on. And the dissolution of the spirit, the individual soul, is something that does not have much of appeal, I tell you. Understand? Two kinds of destinations. Those two kinds of paths, margas, to reach to those destinations. The next stop will be two topics of travelers. So here he's present those two paths, and then he say, which are taken by two kinds of yogis. So there are two kinds of yogis that are going to reach a destination with return ticket in hand, and there is another kind of traveler that reaches there just to dissolve in the ocean of Brahman, so to speak. So we're going to see who are these. The two paths, we have seen it very extensively, but what kind of yogs are those? Now, we know already. But anyhow, here he's saying that who are these travelers? Yeah? What kind of path they are taking? What kind of final destination they reach? No? There are two routes, destination, and so on. So here we're gonna first deal with the two sadhanas, or the two. Now I got confused. The two paths. Okay, two paths. Krishna introduced them in this verse. There are two paths uh, taken by two different travelers, yeah, which reach two different destinations. So the first one involves a lot of doing, okay? The yogas of do, doing things to get results. You know? So the do people, they do physical, verbal, and even mental, because Upasana is a mental process which still does not produce liberation, does not take us to a final understanding. Upasana produce more punya, more spiritual growth and better refinement. So any one of these travelers doing things on a mental, verbal, or physical level are going to find the finite goal. They do that through a lot of different sadhanas, including pujas, rituals, among several kinds of upasanas. And they believe that they may purify getting these limited results to the extent that they go to some wonderful loka. They are going to get the ultimate pleasures on those destinations. But after enjoying those pleasures, the person must come back to produce more punya. That is various higher lokas. You know? Okay. What is the part? Oh, he was saying those travelers, they are going to do pilgrims, you know, and kind of pilgrims, doing things, you know, going round and round Arunachala mountain barefoot every day, and traveling long distance to spend some time there, going around and around. So all of that is said to be conducive to produce punya. You know, the person is making some sacrifice in order to offer something back to the Lord. So we move then to the verse 24. Departing by that bright path which is presided over by deities. This is a good verse. I was looking forward to reach here. Too bad I did not read the text. Departing by that bright path, one path is really bright, luminous, which is presided over by deities of the fire, flame, day, the bright fortnight, and the 6 months of sun's northern course. Those people who meditate on Sagu.a Brahman attain Brahman. A very confusing verse. So how can you meditate on Sagu.a and Brahman and attain Brahman? So you may attain indirectly by traveling through this bright paths. Deities of fire, flame, day, the bright fortnight, in the 6 months of the sun's northern course. Okay, let's see how Swami interprets this one. He studies the interpretations of Shankaracharya, our big hero, and let's see what he presents here. In this verse, Krishna defines the bright path called Sukha Marga, Deva Yanaha. In the second line, Tatra means Deva, etc., etc., etc. They will attain Brahman, they will attain Ishwara, or they will attain Krama Mukti. Here the word Brahman refers to Krama Mukti, not to Brahman, although here the translation says Brahman. So that was explained that the concept of Krama Mukta, or Mukti, the one who goes to the highest possible loka to meet Brahmaji, get some knowledge and be liberated, as scripture says. And I want to understand then analogy with the bright light of the deities. And what is the nature of this Shukla Marga? What is Shukla? Does anybody know? Shining path. Must be. What is the nature of this bright shining path? And Krishna presents it exactly based on the Upanishadic literature. The Vedas talk about the Shukla Marga and Krishna Marga in the 10 Upanishads. They are discussed, and in Brahma Sutra, very elaborately discussed. And while talking about these two paths, the scriptures point that there are guides, different deities or entities, subtle bodies. There are guides to help these travelers in those two paths. So in both paths, the most luminous and the less luminous or whatever, let's see, and there are some guides. So this is all part of esotericism and mysticism that usually Vedanta does not address. But here it's being addressed because in the Bhagavad Gita, some of this is present as well. So there are guides that to help the travelers because we do not know what is ahead and what is behind, and we cannot take the local map. There is no map for our trip, to those higher lokas. So we need to have guides. That's the concept here. Let's see what more Swamiji said.
Yeah, Arlindo, it was odd because when my husband's brother died and we were traveling back on the plane, and my husband always meditated when we were traveling on the plane. And he was a, Maharishi meditator and did not read Upanishads. But he came out of meditation and he told me that he saw a spirit guiding his brother. So, maybe some of these esoteric things, these higher lokas.
Vedanta does not address these things because Vedanta is focused on self-recognition and self-knowledge. Okay, and you can be a yoni without having had any mystical esoteric experience. Huh? or you can be a yoni that has a curriculum of several mystical, esoteric experience. But what liberates is yana. So these tendencies for epiphanies and mystical experience may come as a bonus here and there. And it's said to be a little bit dangerous because you start that begin getting confused and interested in these subtle realms in which these experiences occur. Of course, there is a lot in the invisible realms. My grandmother, for example, she had 17 children. She had hundreds of kids. I don't remember the number of grandchildren, 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 but it was enormous. And my mother was the last child of her, and she had a certain affinity to me that would suggest that she liked me more. You understand? And I was living in Europe when she died. I was into my first guru, living in one of his communities. And when she died, I woke up in the middle of the night with her coming to visit me to say goodbye. And then I got my first opportunity. I called home, and then they told me that grandma has passed away. So those things you say, wow, there is so much in these invisible realms. So we can expect something. So if we are traveling to one of these locus, we're gonna have some family and friends and guides, welcoming us and directing us. But let's see if we don't go to higher locus, because we don't go to any locus, there is no question of traveling. Let's see if Swamiji say something about these two passes and the two travelers and the two results. My take is that there is no traveling. There is a dissolution that may not require any guidance. You understand? But let's see what Shankaracharya and Swamiji say. So they will come and they will welcome, hand over to the next guy. Oh, he's talking about several steps in this traveling. One guy takes you one station, then one takes the next one. That's interesting. Who are those devatas who will guide? The celestial tourist guide. The Upanishad itself names them. Krishna is giving the names of those devatas in the first line. So they call them the elements. 5 devatas represent the 5 elements. Very symbolic, very beautiful. But in this context, daytime does not represent time at all. In this, it is the name of the devata. Similarly, Shuklaha refers to presiding deity of Shukla Paksha. So it refers to the 6 months of the year in the northern hemisphere, maybe, in which the sun is going towards north, and even the sun is going from east to the west. You know that there is a shift because of which we call, that consists of 6 months, and the Lord governing the law of the sun's movement, it's called Devata. Devata refers to the intelligence, supreme intelligence governing all this structure, governing the laws of nature. So we have got gravitational devatas and so on. Very interesting. When we are done here, I'm going to share with you guys something that I don't want it to remain recorded here, but I can share with you guys. Am I recording? Oh, yeah, I am. I remember I did, yeah. So now the next question, who are the travelers? So who is the traveler? Who is giving the traveling ticket? There are some people for this route. Who are them? Brahmo Vido. Brahma means Saguna Brahman Upasaka. Okay. The Saguna Brahman devotees and Upasakas are going to be given a ticket to go to those superior lokas. It should take some time and rest, regroup, regain your energies to be sent back. Or if you are lucky to go all the way up there, you may have satsang with Brahmaji. He says that regardlessly, they will not get the ticket for this route. They will be sent through just going and coming, America. Just a moment. These people who are doing things, they will not get the ticket for this route. They will be sent through Chris Nagati, just going and coming. They are religious karmis. They will not get to the higher lokas. Okay, he's talking about the religious people may go to different superior lockers, but not all the way up there to get Krama Mukta, Mukti. So, and now Swami is going to talk about what we are mostly interested in. And then he says, and how about the Yanis? Will Yani get a ticket to go all the way to one of these higher or the ultimate higher? If I keep the exam, I will have this question. Now, if I really, I was already anticipating this question, because you start to anticipate the scripture and say, okay, so how about the yani? There is no question of traveling. Do not worry. I will not do any exams here with you to see who passed the exam and not. Yanis also will get Sukshalagach because they need to attain Krama Mukti. Okay, because they have attained liberation here and now. We saw yesterday, after therefore Yanis would not get Krama Mukti after death. He got it here now. I probably misread it. Remember, Yanis also will not get, So the samsaris will never get a ticket to go all the way to Brahmaloka. And Yanis as well will not get the ticket to go up there. They will never have the opportunity to become Karmamukti, because they got it here. And to that he said they are Jiva Mukti, meaning to say he is free while still associated to a physical body and experience this physical reality, duality. Yanis have got mukti here, and karmis will not get krama mukti because they are samsaris. They only do rituals and ceremonies. They go around the mountain and so on, and they never go up there. They never get moksha, neither directly nor indirectly, going first to Brahmaji. So the Yanis do not travel as I was anticipating. Okay. Therefore, this trip with guides all over the place they are neither for karmis nor for yan. Oh, too bad. I want to meet my husband, my mother, and all these people, welcoming me and have a good time. And then later on, I want to dissolve in the ocean of Brahman as Brahman. So those desires, they are taken into account as well. Shwara take account of everything. Ritualists will not get Krama Mukti. Ritualists will not get Jiva Mukti. They will go through other routes. But this is neither for karmis nor for yanis. This route going all the way to Brahmalok. We have got the route and all travelers here. What's the route? Who is the traveler? And now we have to look to see the other routes. It's the route of self-inquiry and self-knowledge. Now, departing by that dark path, which is presided over by the deities of smoke, night, and dark, no, is the one that do this trip, but downwards. Okay? It's probably that. Presided over by the deities of darkness, of night, of smoke, and the 6 months of the sun's southern course. I don't know if these 6 months refer to the 6 months of extreme light in the northern hemisphere and the 6 months of darkness, which may occur in some areas at the top or the very bottom of Antarctic. So in analogy, there are these 6 months of darkness.
Arlindo,
Yep.
up above when they were talking about they were talking about the bright path containing both that period when the moon is waxing and the period of spring and summer. So this will be the period of the moon waning, getting smaller, darkening, and the winter months like that.
Yeah, something. I mean, we know that light is a symbol of knowledge, and darkness is a symbol of ignorance. I know that ignorance produce papan and knowledge produce punya. So it's something on those lines, with a lot of symbolism involving the seasons. And the second line, traveling by the second path, means is not named the route here. He will give the name later on. Tena, Krishna, Tatra. Okay. I don't care to know the name of that route. I just want to pick up the concept and move on. So that's called Krishna Marga. Therefore, you can decide whether you travel by Shukla or Krishna. So Tatra Prayataha, Yog Praya. So Yog here, Yog refers to the Karmi, the ritualistic people who do not practice Upasana and much less, Nididhyasana. They do their duties well. They do a lot of service. They do rituals, pujas. They gain a lot of punya, all right, but the punya is the punya of lower quality because they have not done upasana even, which is supposed to be a higher sadhana, a mental sadhana. They stayed more in the verbal and physical sadhanas. Any mental sadhana is supposed to be higher than the physical and verbal sadhanas. Mental sadhanas are much more difficult because the mind is running all over the place. It's more difficult for you to control your mind than control your instruments of actions, for example. So it's much easier to control your mind, not to do stupid things or not to say stupid things, but to your body. But it's much more difficult to control your mind from thinking negative things, or to do pasana. When you try to do pasana, the mind is going to be rebelling, running all over the place. The physical one is much easier. Therefore, mere ritualistic sadhanas are going to produce a lower kind of punya. Therefore, they reach only lower lokas, otherwise known as Chandra Loka, which is lower than Brahma Loka. In the Puranas, you must have heard it. I must have told you also, the higher Loka, above Bhu Loka, higher Loka is supposed to be Bhuva Loka, Maha Loka, Jnana Loka, Tapo Loka, and so on. And Satya Loka, which is another name for Brahma Loka. Brahma Loka is the highest Loka through which the Upasaka will get Krama Mukti. But the ritualists will never go to Brahma Loka, they will go only to the lower lokas. And this Krishna Marga is also presided by over the devatas. And who are those devatas? The list is given. Do not ask, how do you know all of this? The Vedas, and we trust the Vedas. What are these devatas that takes those religious karmis, who did a lot of rituals and pujas? Who are these ones which were represented by a darker light, or something like that, a dimmed light? But strange enough, is present as Krishna Marga now, Krishna, which is presided by some certain devatas. Who are these now? Which is present here with a deity which is not as luminous. So here it is the name of a devata, Duma Devata, literally means night. Here it refers to Ratrihi Devata, also known as Krishna Devata. In this context means Krishna Paksha Devata, not Vasudeva Krishna. Here Krishna means Krishna Paksha Devata. So many nuances in this Vedic Hindu culture, So this Krishna Paksha means the dark fortnight. So these four devatas are given as a sample. In the Upanishads, especially Chandogya and Brihadaranya, the list is more extensive. Krishna in this context means Krishna Paksha Devata. Okay. What are the four names? In the name of Devatas, Dhumaha, Devata, Ratrihi. No, I'm not finding the four names. But here he's saying these four devatas are given as a sample here. in the Chandogya, you find a longer list of devatas guiding people to these lower celestial lokas. If the person is going to Svaga Loka, why do you call it Glomi Pass? Now we go. Let's see. Why you call it? Hmm? It's still a celestial loka. Should not it be a bright, a lightful, oh, brilliant pass? Svaga means people should be happy. Huh? Why do you call it pass with less light or darkness? Krishna says the reason is Prapya Nivartat. The bad news is that he will go and enjoy all right, but once the punya exhausts, the person will come down becoming more miserable than before, because here our body very much is very much used to mosquitoes, but when you just come back, you are no longer used, because in those saga lokas, you have much better circumstance. That is the concept. So it's like he sometimes he used this analogy to say it's like people living in India the past 20 years. A lot of Indians became professionals in the engineering and computer, yeah, fields, and they migrate to USA with the family and so on. And then they get used with the first world. When they go back there, they find it difficult to accept. Yeah? So here there are mosquitoes, there is this, there is that, and the water is dirt. I'm no longer used to this, all these toxins of the water and the food. Have enjoyed a better health in a better world, such as in the USA or some parts of Europe. The moment you must go back to your country because the president is sending everybody back, you're going to have to deal with your mosquitoes, with everything there. Yeah? If you do not enjoy that because you got used, if you do not enjoy that because you will count down, I will come down soon. I will come soon. Therefore, it's not, bro. Let me try to understand. If you understand, help me. Having enjoyed better health in Svaga, Loka, the moment you come down, the mosquito begin biting you. Not only mosquitoes. If you do not enjoy that because we'll count down. But what is this countdown? I will come down soon. I will come soon. Therefore, it's not bright compared to the Kramamukti. I did not made much sense of those few sentences here. Compared to Sukshla Marga, Krishna Marga is certainly inferior. Therefore, it's darker, let's say, like the black spot in the sun. Really speaking, the black spot is not black spot at all. It's really bright, but it's black because compared to other parts of the sun, it is less bright. Krishna, likewise, Krishna Marga is not as bright. It's a little bit darker compared with Sukla Gati, which takes us to, it's another name for Brahmalok. Thus, we have got to the second Marga, which is called Krishna Marga, and who is the traveler? The yogi. No, all the yogis doing, asanas mainly, among other rituals. And in this verse, it's carefully note the word yogi means a ritualistic non-upasaka. Yogi in this verse, in Sanskrit, karmi, or the preside Kevala, karmi. And now Krishna sums up these two margas in the next verse, which we'll see tomorrow, because we went over our time. So this is an aspect of the Gita that it's interesting as something informative, but it's absolutely irrelevant in regards to self-inquiring, self-knowledge. Okie dokie. So are you up to meet tomorrow? Okay. Then we meet tomorrow, same time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Okie dokie. See you.
Thanks, Arlindo. Did you say you were going to talk with us privately?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. Let me